Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smalltalk episode 54. This is the Smallville retrospective podcast on the channel. I'm one-third of your co-hosts. My name is Ryan Cam. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And this week, man alive, we're talking about three absolutely just quality episodes of this show. I mean, there's not a bad one in the bunch, like if you really think about it. I think the first one is good. It's literally for me good, better, best, but we'll get into that when we get there. But first, I had to introduce my co-host. First up, uh, the man who is currently laughing so hard he is crying. It's Jacob Collins.
I'm sorry. Yeah, off camera, I made a joke that me and Matt were, and then Brian's like, "Oh God, but let's just start." I'm not gonna start the joke is because that's just between us three gents. But like, but I'm just like, but yeah, I was laughing because Ryan was like, oh, "God," and just that made me laugh with Ryan's reaction. Oh. But yeah, you would not know. We're not gonna tell the joke, audience members. But like, it was crude.
It's a very crude joke that you would not understand.
All
It's
the
just,
things,
but anyway.
all the things we say before we hit record. Matt Wyatt, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to get into these three damn good episodes that were far better than last week's episode that we covered.
We've definitely had our veggies. Now it is time to have our dessert because all three of these episodes are just so good. They almost constitute a mini arc in and of itself because sandwiched in between the three is the mid-season finale, and it just leaves off at the most like have fun over the holidays, kids, ending what it's just so traumatic. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
So we're halfway through the season, and I will say, I'm not going to go out spoilers, that these next back half of the season is so fucking dark. And I don't mean dark as you can't see shit. I mean dark as in like,
do you mean dark? Do you mean that you can't see the screen, or are you talking about the tone?
The tone. You can see,
or no, I couldn't see the screen.
Tone. You will see. You're gonna wish you went back because that's why I feel like the first half of season 7 is a lighthearted, like fun season, and then the back half is so depressing because you can tell the showrunners like, "Oh, this is our last season. We're going hard in the back half of season 7."
It did have that mixture of the tone of season 4 and 5 where it goes into a dark direction.
Because it got lighthearted season going. Y'all enjoyed. Y'all had fun. Y'all had fun on the playground. Well, guess what? Now it's World War III, motherfucker. Watch this. It's like it's literally Terminator 2 when they're on the playground before the bomb drops in Judgment Day.
Let's not go into too much. Let's not go in too far.
Oh yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, I still haven't.
You're getting a little too on the nose.
Yeah. Stop talking now, please. But we're looking forward to talk about these episodes. Thank you all so much for watching. Just a bit of a program note for this channel. It's not like hey, it's nothing too major, just me letting you all know that that next week when the next episode drops, there'll be a double upload day because Scary Mania 5 is going to be beginning on the channel. So you'll be getting a Scary Mania episode in the morning, and then in the afternoon, you'll be getting Smalltalk. So just getting that out of the way right here and now. That'll be next week. For this week, though, let us begin with Season 7, Episode 8, called I'm Blue, da ba dee ba da 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 dee da 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 da. Blue.
He is the last son of a dead world, sent to become a hero to millions. Thursday. He thought his family was lost forever. He was wrong.
My son.
Smallville, followed by Supernatural. All new episodes this Thursday, starting at 8/7 Central on the CW.
Clark hears the voice of his biological mother, Laura, calling for help from Kara's Crystal and decides to release her, despite Jor-El's warnings. Laura and Clark reunite, and she gives him Jor-El's ring, which contains blue kryptonite. As Clark puts it on, he realizes Zor-El manipulated the whole thing, and that blue kryptonite strips him of his powers, enabling Zor-El to take control of the Fortress of Solitude. Meanwhile, Chloe and Lex each discover Lois and Grant have been seeing each other and warn them to stop. So yeah, the Chloe, Lana, and all that other stuff is secondary. The real main course of this episode is Clark, Zor-El, Kara, and Laura, and just, man, when it's focused on them, it's so good. I loved it so much.
Dude, I totally agree with you. We got to see them reuniting with Laura and Clark, having that mother and son bonding, and I thought it was so good. Even when she was a carbon copy from Zor-El's crystal, she's still the same Laura that you know back then, even though that's not the Laura that her original form. But I thought that her Helen Slater really nailed it. She was exactly that you hoped it would be than when we saw in the flashback from these previous episodes that we covered. And Zor-El is way more ruthless and menacing that we're starting to see his true colors. And Kara is still conflicted to knowing about Zor-El, her father, that he is not everything that she expected, and he still manipulates her into joining him, which I thought was not that much of a surprise from Kara's part because that's still her dad overall, even though he's still a terrible person.
I want to take a moment to shout out the actor who plays Zor-El, Christopher Heyerdahl. He is mostly a TV actor. As of this recording, he is working on Monarch Legacy of Monsters, but he's been in Peacemaker. He's Captain Casper Locke on that show. He's been on Hell on Wheels. So he's been frequently a TV actor, but he just
He's so funny in Peacemaker.
He was also in Smallville. Oh, no, not Smallville. What? No, Supernatural. Yeah. Supernatural. He did make an appearance in Supernatural too.
I always thought, yeah, he's that actor that just does a lot of movies and TV shows. But like watching him, if you ever get a chance to watch Peacemaker, he is so hilarious on Peacemaker. He's like the most craziest fucking character on that show, I would say, because he says some crazy shit. And there was a line he says in Peacemaker about the Hamburglar, about how he describes someone that killed these cops, and he describes, and then one of the cops that goes, "Okay, I'm pretty sure he was talking about the fucking Hamburglar." Okay, it just makes I still die laughing at that joke.
He did it well.
Oh yeah, he's so great. That's why I always know he steals the show in Peacemaker. That's how funny he was.
Yeah, you wanted more for that guy.
Yeah. I mean, it was so great.
He's always been in a lot of roles that are so weird and bizarre. And the best one's obviously Peacemaker, but the second one, him playing Zor-El, he was
also in Gotham. Great.
Yeah, I don't know which season was he in Gotham.
He was season 1, I believe. Yeah, season 1. He played the electrocutioner.
Yeah, because it's been a long time since I watched season 1 because I tapped out of the show through it halfway the mid.
You know what? Talking Gotham coming soon to the channel.
Then I'm gonna have to force myself into watching the show.
Add it to the ever-growing list.
Talk Ham.
Talk Ham. They're like, what the fuck is that? A fucking cooking show?
That's the show. Like, people are gonna be wondering, like, what is it? Talk Ham. And they're like, what? Why wouldn't you just call it Talking Gotham? Or,
it hasn't been taken. It didn't get taken, so we could take that title.
Seriously.
Talking Gotham is just generic. Like, it just is.
Like small talk
or Gotham talk.
Yeah, but that just sounds like something.
Goth talk.
We'll get eyeliner and put some
just put some fucking eyeliner, fucking Robert Pattinson style from the Batman. How about that?
We all just collectively start listening to My Chemical Romance and hang out at the Hot Topic.
Hey, no.
It's so edgy.
Especially this new character in Agatha All Along. This teen guy. He looks like he comes from a Hot Topic.
He looks like he cannot stay out of a Hot Topic.
Exactly. Like everything he wears, it's coming from a Hot Topic, for crying out loud.
Goth Talk, sponsored by the local goth chapter from South Park.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do. I did really like that, Zor-El is kind of like, charismatic, where you believe like what he says sometimes, where he says, "I'm going to go look," he says, "I will literally bring Clark here and everything will be perfect. It'll be us against the world." And you're like, "No, it won't." It's like, and then he says, "I'm going to go look for Clark and I'll bring him here. He'll be safe." And then whenever he's like, "I looked Clark everywhere. I couldn't find him." I'm like, well, first off, where the fuck did he go? Like, they just walk outside.
But also Lauren did not fall for his bullshit. Like, yeah, you had no intention of fighting him. Yeah. You lying asshole.
I'm curious to know, where did he go? Like, did he walk outside? Where
he probably just flew around and just
fly around, go get a
he just flew around and bought time. That's all he did.
Where did he go? It makes no sense. Did he just
nowhere? I did like that scene when he was just like threatening Lionel to force Clark into joining. I thought that scene was so good. And Lionel just calls him out, Zor-El. He knows everything. The moment he laid his eyes on him, that he shows up in his office.
I do like that when Lionel looks up at him and then like he just takes and destroys. Which I like that aspect of it. I also like that Lex and Gabriel have a heart to heart playing pool, and
Oh
the
yeah.
big deal is that he's Julian Luther.
Yeah, because no, but at the time it wasn't revealed until the end of the episode because they were just playing pool and they were just having their little work bonding moment and like what's their relationship between the two of them and why is he trying so hard to try to break up with Lois? Like what the hell is his agenda? What's his angle and all of it from Lex? By the time you get to the end, now it makes sense that that was Julian Luther the whole time. Having that name drop, like what? Are you
You know,
kidding me?
so Ryan, did you ever wonder when you were like watching the show? I wonder if Julian ever grew up, what he would look like.
Yes, I did.
And that's what he would look like, except he would be the better looking brother because he has hair.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
has hair and he's good looking.
and
I mean,
seemingly
He landed Lois Lane, something Lex could never do.
that's
But
very
also when you were how shocked were you when you heard the name drop of Julian Luther and how this all makes sense? And his and
I was
telling his
trying to
whole
figure out,
little
like, I
BS
saw him get
backstory of
smothered.
how this all happened.
I figured Ryan probably like, well, the cloning shit.
well, I kind of put two and two together. I'll say that I was like, wouldn't it be crazy if this was Julian Luther? And sure enough, it was. Like I was kind of halfway serious about it, but Lex is kind of going through his I destroy everything I touch, so I might as well just try and create something good and hope it pans out, which is why the whole clone thing was going down. I'm sure it must have passed his mind, and then sure enough, he just straight up went and did it. He created his own brother. And spoiler alert, it does not end well for him. We'll get to that.
But the clone you were able to put two to two together because it's not the first time he's cloned someone close to him. Lana, remember that one in the
Exactly.
second episode?
That was not alive.
Lex is going through this very twisted Dr. Moreau arc right now, where he's just trying to play God and just create things. And in the words of James Bond from No Time to Die, history does not look kind on men who play God.
So desperate, but he's so desperate for affection because
He
everyone
wants a
that he knows
family.
that despise him, he wants a family, and he decided to create
And
Julian. And
this
also one
episode,
question that really bothered me: how did he was he able to get a DNA sample of Julian? Was it from his birth certificate or something? Because that kind of bothered me after all these years because he died from a baby being smothered by his own mom, and somehow he still
I'm sure. I
was
mean,
able to claim like
he probably got like a strand of hair or something, or
maybe. I mean,
dental
I don't know how
records,
he
or
was able to able to get those because that was
which
so long ago.
I mean, I'm sure he has ways. I mean, there's ways. There's ways to get DNA records from Abraham Lincoln still.
Maybe, yeah, you're probably right. But I'm like the Michael Jordan to Lex, stop, get help.
I mean, Lex is just like this. He's like, there's an invasion coming. Like, there's two sides of Lex right now. There's an invasion coming. We need to prepare it now. He's like that at the end of an Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And what's his name? Will at the end of the 1950s Invasion of the Body Snatchers when he says,
They're already here. You're next. You're next.
Lex is literally going, yes, there's an alien invasion. We
Yeah,
have
he's
to.
got something
I have
stuck
to
up.
be ready.
He's got it stuck up his ass to try to find love and have a family while he's too busy preoccupied with this fucking scion with this whole alien
He wants to be the
preparation of
Messiah for the
doomsday.
human
He's
race.
doing his
He's
whole
like,
god.
I
He's
can
literally
lead the
doing.
human race.
He's
I'm
literally
like
trying to play
Moses.
God complex. He's literally trying to be the God complex, trying to be the leader of this upcoming doomsday preparation of the alien
Yeah,
invasion.
he's literally like two things. He's a doomsday prophet, and then the other side, he's literally like trying to be like I want to have a family. I want to
Daddy
have
didn't
my
love
brother back.
me.
In which I will say this whole episode does have to do with family because you have Clark's mother who's a clone, Lex's brother who's a clone. This literally should have just been called Clone.
Yeah,
Because
that would have been
literally
more.
everyone
That
in
would have
this
been more
episode,
appealing than Blue because that's just like yeah, that's a little bit like Blue from the Crystal, and now Blue Kryptonite. And now it's the
Blue
first
should
time
have
that
been the
this
episode
is
of
another
the
new Kryptonite
persona.
that this is another new color Kryptonite that has been introduced, and we now know what Blue Kryptonite can do to Kryptonians. It can just strip their powers like temporarily when you have them on. And and that was Jarrell's ring, and it was made out of blue kryptonite before Krypton was even destroyed at the time.
One thing I said to
I
myself
will.
while I was watching this episode was when Zor-El and Jor-El and all the elves are like fighting each other. It kind of sucks that Krypton, the TV show, didn't last as long as it should
Oh,
have
dude.
because I was thinking to myself, the House of L is kind of fucked if you really think about it. Like if
Yeah,
you
they are kind of a fucked up family.
like, it's a
It's kind
wonder
of like
that Clark.
Succession.
It's
Kind of
Yeah,
sort
like
of
it is kind of like Succession if you think
the
about it.
the
I mean, the
House
side
of
of the
L.
family's all fucked up, but the only decency of the family is Jarrell.
The House of
That's
L
pretty
is
much the only.
really the House of L really has like a Dutton family, a Succession family,
Kind of like the Skywalker family. They're
The
all fucked
Baldwin
up.
family.
This,
yeah,
oh
sure,
God, the
Bald-
Baldwin.
The
sure.
Baldwin.
Sure, you
Huh.
could say that.
I mean, really, what? There's only like, is there like one Baldwin? I think there's only like one Baldwin that's not like that hated right now. I think that's Billy Baldwin. That's the
I
only
was,
one Baldwin. He's like,
it's funny you bring it up. I just watched Flatliners for Scary Mania, and I was like, why does this guy look so familiar? Turns out that's William Baldwin. I had no idea.
or William. William Baldwin's probably the only Baldwin that's not like in heat for nothing. He's like, hey, people don't hate me, and I didn't kill nobody. So hey,
Good on me.
I was like, I'm the
Thanksgiving
only Baldwin. Then
Thanksgiving must
Alec
be
will stick.
Thanksgiving must be fun at the Baldwin house. Say, Alec, how's the guild going? Oh, it's not too bad there, Steve. How's the PureFlix money? And then Williams just over there,
How's the court coming? How's the court having?
and then Williams over there like, I'm just living off my Flatliners residuals. I don't give a damn.
Yeah. And then Billy Baldwin's like, I'm just trying to get into acting. I mean, what is Billy? Isn't Billy and William the same person, or is there another Bald? Isn't there like four
I think
Baldwin brothers?
Billy, and William are the same because Bill,
There's
William.
Alec, Stephen, and I think there's Alec, William, and Steve. I think there's four Baldwins. I remember on the Family Guy sketch, Alec Baldwin. They had a sketch of Alec Baldwin nursing all the Baldwin brothers, and it was like a piglet, nursing her young. It was Alec Baldwin like with his fat gut, and all the Baldwin brothers are sucking on his nipples. And he goes, "It's okay, Stephen. You're the youngest, so you get the most." You know,
But
like you seen the episode.
Sorrell is literally playing the General Zod figure in this episode. He's
he
literally
is
the Zod
He's literally
2.0.
Zod's lapdog. He's
pretty
Zod's
much.
lapdog.
Basically,
Zod literally manipulated him and told him, "Hey, look," he goes, "I helped destroy Krypton." I'm like, "I'm gonna destroy this one too."
he wants to conquer the
And I'm
Earth.
gonna.
He
It's like him and Brainiac have the exact same logic. If we free Zod, everything will be better.
he's literally
If we eradicate the human race, everything will be better.
he's literally Rita Repulsa. It's time to conquer Earth.
It's time to conquer Earth. After 3,000 years, I'm free.
Which, by the way, I bet you Lex is seeing this and going, "I'm right. You see, I am right." In the apocalypse, how did that happen? You see, aliens. And
I was
and
right, you bastards.
His brother Joseph, what the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you? He's like, I'm gonna be here to lead the human race. We're gonna have to go underground like mole people, and then when I come up, we will start the war with the aliens, Independence Day style. And he's like, "Okay, Lex. Okay, stop drinking.
All right,
Okay,
Mr.
are you having
Jones.
a?"
All right, Mr. Jones, calm down.
Take
But
some take some decaf.
we do have two more episodes to cover, so
I will
let's.
say the thing I will say the only thing I did not like was I do like the couple of things. I do like Clark destroying the crystal, even though he's sacrificing his mom, and I do like that Grant revealed to be joining Jarrell punishing Clark and sending him, freezing him. Only thing I didn't like was I thought Oliver's security doesn't have no security because Lana just walks right up in there, and then
Everybody's waltzing right in
Yeah.
that place.
And
What
also,
show
like,
have
Clark's
we been
mom-
watching, Collins? I mean, no security.
Oliver's
Have we
security
not been
too, it's like
covering
nobody has
for the past
security.
year that there's no good security guards in Smallville
Also,
when it comes to
Clark's mom gives him a ring that will make a plot make him weak, which is basically a plot convenience. Basically like, "Oh, as I'm about to go fight, you give me a ring that's going to make me weak." Oh, and I'm like, that's so convenient. Like, what's that line you say, Ryan? Matt?
it's gonna be super easy, barely inconvenience.
Yeah. And then the line about this one line, it made me laugh. I don't know why I put a dislike, but about the guy who says, "Oh God, if this is an apocalypse, I better go get my dogs."
No, if this is gonna be the apocalypse, we're gonna be like dogs.
Oh, I thought he said, "I better go get my dogs," because I'm like,
No, he didn't say get the dogs. Like we're gonna
I'm
be
pretty
dogs.
sure he said, "Go get my
No,
dogs."
It's like if this is the apocalypse, we're gonna be like dogs.
Check that to make sure.
Regardless of what was said, Ed Wood called. He wants his line back. But
Yeah.
let us go to
Kara getting her mind wiped was also dumb. I just
Oh,
hated
good.
Kira getting her mind wiped.
Is that going to go anywhere? Or can you?
That Kira getting her mind wiped,
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's
it's
gonna go
definitely going.
somewhere.
It
I
is.
hated it because it felt like they need to get
That's what's
Kira
kind
off
of
the show for a
stupid.
little
That
bit.
kind of excuse of her getting transported in Detroit with no memory was kind of ridiculous, and it made no
Well, I think
sense.
they did it because they were trying to get. They wanted to focus on Clark for a little bit. They didn't want to focus on Lon. Like, for instance, that's the reason why
Like
when
they
they
don't
brought
want to
Bizarre in.
overshadow like Clark's character because he's still the lead.
Yeah. Also, if Bizarre would have showed up, if Bizarre would have showed up and then Clark is gone and Kira's there, guess what's going to happen? She's going to be like, "You're not Clark."
Yeah, I feel like that they had to force that whole
Every alien
disappearance.
in the third episode knows that Clark that's not Clark. I'm like, why that? But I'm like, we'll get to that. But I'm just thinking like that was an issue I had. I'm like, why are you going around telling everybody you're Clark? Just hide. You only need to tell 3 people.
Yeah,
But
we'll
yeah,
get there. We will surely get there. But
I thought this was I thought this if I had to give this a score, I would probably give it I would say a 7 out of 10.
7. Okay, Matt, what about you?
I really enjoyed this episode a lot more. I'm gonna give this thing an 8.5.
I'm gonna match Matt. I'm gonna go 8.5. I really did enjoy this one. When it's focused on
Okay, all right.
when it's focused on Clark and the L's, it is really good. And there is thankfully a lot of it here. And it pretty much parlays because it leaves off on a big old cliffhanger, the episode, where Jor-El says, "Now I must punish you for what you've done," because Jor-El's need to punish his son will outweigh his practicality, and we will explain why as we dive into season 7, episode 8, called Gemini.
Hello?
There's a bomb on your cousin. Bring down Lex Luthor, or Chloe dies.
It's time for the truth, Lex.
All new Smallville, 2 weeks from tonight at 8/7 Central on the CW.
As Christmas draws near, Lois receives a call from an anonymous man claiming that Chloe is attached to a bomb, and the only way he won't let it blow up is if she reports the truth of Lex's atrocious experiments in 33.1. Lois tries to find a way on her own to stop the mysterious person who is linked to both Lex and Grant Gabriel. Chloe and Jimmy end up getting stuck in an elevator at the Daily Planet with the bomb ticking, prompting Chloe to reveal her secret meteor rock power of healing to him. Meanwhile, Clark returns from his enforced imprisonment from the Fortress of Solitude. With Kara still missing, Clark uncharacteristically wants to reopen her ISIS program of spying on Lex with the intent of taking him down, and wants to become closer to Lana when he has been distancing himself from her. But what exactly does Clark, air quotes, have in mind? So, this is a Christmas episode and the mid-season finale, and the ending of this episode is just cruel.
Yeah, this was literally a sequel Christmas holidays theme episode, except that we don't have Santa in this episode.
I do like this episode a lot. This is one of my favorite episodes because I did not know there was a new episode of Smallville because the writer's strike had happened. And so they literally did not come out with a Christmas episode like that. We went like this come out, I think was in October or November was when the blue episode happened. And then we didn't get a new episode until like mid-December, and it was one episode.
Mm-hmm.
One episode. And then it was not until February until we got the next one.
Yeah, we literally waited.
Like,
we waited like a month and a half for the new episode to come after this episode of Gemini.
So bummed because I'm like, it was just like a new episode of Smallville. Like, oh my god, I gotta go down and watch TV. And so I went and I watched it. And it was so good. And then at the end of it, like I was so blown. Like, that's bizarre. That's bizarre. Wow. Oh, because at the time, like, oh, boring Clark, gonna do boring stuff. And then at the end, when he's like, and then you see like
well, he wasn't. Well, he was a little bit different when we see him in this episode. He did
Clark.
seem a little changed. Like he was just ready to move on. He's been in the fortress. Like, oh, time works differently in the fortress. Like, wait, what? That guy can't be true.
Which also,
something's going on.
The notes between Bizarro and Clark are subtle in this episode, but there. This is an episode where you really have to pay attention and like say to yourself, okay, Clark's not acting right. Like we've been with him for 7.5 seasons now. Like he's not acting right. And then sure enough, the big reveal
He's not so
happens.
secretive in this episode.
Yeah,
Pretty
He's
much.
not even secretive.
He's been more like being more open and a little bit more of a good listener instead of being so uptight a lot with every time that Lana says something that she doesn't agree with. Like he's more listening. He's like, no, we got to put Lex behind bars. You were
Do you
right the
think?
whole time. I'm willing to be a team player.
Do you think if the Phantom? Do you think if the Phantom, like if Clark would never have showed up again? Do you think the Phantom would ever like just basically go through like say would go through the whole entire season 7? Do you think he would have been a good guy, or do you think he would have just left the Clark the superhero saving behind and said, "I'm just going to go to Paris with Lana"?
Oh, dude, he would have gone out to Paris with Lana.
You don't
His
think he
only
would have
goal is to
stayed to
be with
say?
Lana.
You don't think he would have saved the day and was like, you know what? I'm going to be Superman.
Well, I think the whole point about that episode was to fool the audience into believing we were Lana in this episode. We almost believed that that was the real Clark until the very end, and the whole saving of the bomb in the elevator was just a toy with the audience. Was the toy with them to make us believe that no way Bizarre
Well, I
would
mean,
actually
the
save
next
people.
episode
No
kind of
way that he
establishes
would.
that he's not a bastard. So look,
No, I think it's because of the every sense that he met Lana, because he has all of his memories and he's seen all of his history, and he developed the same emotion as him, and he developed the same weaknesses as him.
I really
Except that,
actually truly
except that
think that he wanted to be a good
he's way
guy.
more committed with Lana. He's in it all the way. But Clark is a little bit more apprehensive with Lana after everything that they just went through in the past recent season right now.
I always think that Bizarre would have loved like he just
But
wants to
dude,
be
he was
like
willing to
okay.
leave. He was willing to go off to Paris and just fuck everybody.
I mean,
I mean, I know,
literally, I
I know
think that's
we'll
what should
cover,
have
and
happened. He
I
should have
already
been
know that
like,
we'll cover that in the next episode.
well, do you think? I really think that Clark should have been like, you know what, Lana, if you want to go with Bizarre, I wish you both happiness. Okay, you
Oh
know
boy,
what?
well
And that way,
that
guess what? Lana gets the dream guy,
the lack of that
and then all of a sudden they send a
conversation,
postcard.
the lack of that conversation leads to
They
one
send a
hell of an
postcard.
ending in the next episode, but we'll get to that. But I
They
love
send a postcard from Paris. Like this will be the postcard, Ryan, where they send like all of a sudden a postcard where it's Bizarre with like his face all covered in silver, and Lana at the beach, and he's wearing a Hawaiian shirt, and it says, "We did have one incident where a guy at a bar fight and the Bizarre ripped his heart out, but other than that, everything's been going great."
Do they have? I don't think they don't have beaches in Paris.
I don't know. I've never been to fucking Paris. I'm just
There's no, when the fuck did they have?
They do have new beaches because in Home Alone, the
Oh no!
boy asked.
Well, dude, Buzz was not very bright on that part. He's
They
like,
got new
not in the
beaches.
winter, not in the winter.
Okay, I'm googling that shit. Now
He's
you
not
got
very
me.
good. No, here's a Buzz is not good with numbers when it comes to counting or
Yeah,
geography.
I'm 90% sure every place.
Maybe
in the
you're
world.
right. Maybe I'm wrong because I don't
guys.
know much about Paris. So yeah, I may be a little bit
Guys,
off.
as the host of this show, I must butt in.
Okay.
Yes, France has many beaches, including sandy beaches, pebbled beaches, and hidden coves.
Okay.
4,600
Okay.
kilometers long. So yeah, there's a lot of beaches in France.
Oh no, you're right. I stand corrected then.
It's like, what the fuck was that? There's no beaches. I'm like, no beaches. I've never heard of places that have beaches. Like, and wait, unless you're in Iceland or something. Even Iceland, I think, has beaches.
I'm pretty sure, maybe.
Those really weird black sand beaches. I'll have to look that up later.
But yeah, this episode anyway.
Chloe and Jimmy are now a thing again. Yay.
Well,
Oh,
sort of. Sort of.
Yeah, because I guess
I mean,
Clark-
right now that Lois is in the middle of that whole bomb threat with this Adrian dude, this mysterious guy who's threatening Lois to blow up Chloe if he doesn't print that story that he wants for Lois to show for Lex's expose.
Yeah, the soldier in Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2. Remember that guy, the one who was he's the one in Iron Man 1 that says when Iron Man's on the plane and like Colonel Rhodes is like, Major, I don't think we can do this, and he goes, you know something, if you have a shot, you take it. Remember that? And that guy in Iron Man 1, the one who's like saying, if you have a shot, you take it, and they're like, there's a man on the plane, And then Iron Man 2, remember, he was the same guy, and when they're doing the Justin Hammers is showing all the weapons to Rhodey and
oh
him,
yeah, I didn't recognize him.
Yeah,
I didn't recognize that guy. He was wearing a makeup and different contact lenses. Now, come to think of it, yeah, that is the same actor.
Yeah. Which I will say, this episode I do enjoy. I like Christmas episodes. It's fun.
It's a holiday theme.
Also, there is no way those reindeers could have got up on that freaking globe. There's no way logically.
How did they get that up there on that globe?
I'm like watching. Oh, there's no way factually. There's no way logically. Even with a helicopter, you cannot get those up there. That is a disaster.
All they did, they edited the visuals from the same shot of what they've used many times, and then add in CG snowfall, and then add a fucking CG of the reindeer decoration on the globe.
I hope those decorators were compensated well for that.
They
They
fell to
better
their
be paid
deaths.
well.
Lots of decorators lost their lives so those reindeers can hang beautifully.
In the words of The Rock from the other guys, I hope they aimed for the bushes. But
You know what I'm thinking? Aim for the bushes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bushes?
insert clip here. Insert clip here. Me in the future. But this
Lex
is
and Gabriel fencing.
yeah. But man,
It's
this
having
like
a brother bond moment.
I like the brother bond moments they have. Like to show you that we're brothers. See.
But man, talk about a cruel ending with you get the reveal of Bizarro, which I don't want to say I called, but it was like, okay, this is I think Bizarro, and sure enough, shows his face, and then we see Clark frozen in a pillar of ice in the Fortress of Solitude because again, Jor-El has a need to discipline his son rather than say, hey, you know those evil guys that like destroyed your home planet? Go get them. But no, 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 the boy had to be trained, I guess. And then
But
have a
did you
good
know that they had
Christmas holiday, kids.
But did you know that in the last episode, Blue, they had a deleted scene where they show Clark getting frozen and trapped in the fortress that they cut out in the final cut? And Jor-El was about teaching Clark a lesson that in order for you to fulfill your destiny, I got to have you keep you here until everyone you know is gone. And they left that out, which I get why they cut that out of the episode. It would have been too cruel for Jor-El to do something like that to him.
I didn't like that Lex's line, like I always win in the end. I love that line when he told Gabriel after their fencing.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I love that line when he said that I always win in the end. Like,
In
you
the
know, that was
business,
so
we call this foreshadowing. That's all I'm going to say.
And Grant Gabriel finds out that he is a carbon copy of his dead brother, revealed in the third act of the climax. And Lex just fucking pulls out his 9mm and shoots Adrian. Just
no
gun
one
his ass
heard
down.
that. No one heard that
No one
shot.
heard the gunshot. No one heard the
That made me
gunshot.
mad. I was like, there's no one hears a gunshot. That is a gun.
If someone hears a gunshot, they're going to be security guards coming in and roaming in the fucking room.
SWAT's going to be on their way to like think there's a shooting at the Daily Planet.
They would call the SWAT team by then.
Clearly forgot that sound travels.
I mean, seriously, he just goes pow. I mean,
Yeah.
literally, it makes the scene in Bad Boys 1 where he gets the pillow and does this. Makes that more sound logical than that. And I'm just sitting there going like, it makes no sense. I mean, I'm going to go back to the other guys. In the other guys, when Will Ferrell pulls his pistol out and does a desk pop, that
desk
like
pop. They
there,
would be
everyone
roaming.
was like,
Yeah, they would be roaming in like crazy, like gunfight. I hear a gunshot. A desk
well,
pop?
obviously, yeah. I mean, obviously, they would not. If people they would not rush to the gunshot, they would probably be trying to evacuate the building.
Oh, they would evacuate the building and they
a
would have
mass
got a bunch
shooting
of
is
security
happening
guards.
at the Daily Planet. Which I did like that. You know, like the when the FedEx guy is looking at her and then she travels in there and she knocks the FedEx guy out and he goes, "You're the terrorist," and he goes, "No, I just thought you were high," and he goes, "You're a terrorist and a pervert." Like
that was funny. I mean, I almost bought into that was the guy who was the one pulling the strings at first before they revealed the real Adrian. They almost had us. I love how they played off the suspense.
It kills the guy, in which I'm thinking, where did they put the body? Where did they put the body?
How does he dispose? How is he going to dispose the body? Hide it in the closet?
That poor FedEx driver. That's all I'm saying. If Doug Heffernan was
See,
there,
this is why you should never do FedEx because you don't know what the fuck's going to happen to you. You can get murdered on the job.
Exactly.
I did like when with the Lois, and I love how Lois put the thing on it says "bomb on you," and then when she's in the elevator with Jimmy, and then like Jimmy and her trying to figure out what to do. I love that when they're in the elevator, like, "Oh my god, what are they doing?" She goes, "I got the worst." They look in the package and goes, "I have the worst Secret Santa." Like,
It's like there's no way you could plant the bomb into a big small box. Like, oh yeah, I guess I have the worst Secret Santa ever. The funny thing about with Chloe when she was trying to get a signal to get to call for
calls
help,
Clark.
he was like, "You wasted your phone call on Clark. What's he gonna do? Dismantle the bomb from here?"
Exactly. And which
Maybe.
I liked which also made no sense. One thing was whenever I understand like she's sitting there, you would think that the bomber said I have everything covered, so she couldn't send an email, she couldn't make a phone call to Chloe or nothing. Okay, you would think that the bomber would intercept that mail to make sure she did not write nothing on it. Because I understand he was watching her, but like even though she was doodling, like like doing this to make it look like she wasn't doing writing nothing, I still would I would check that because obviously it worked.
It worked for the moment up until she saw the note, and then they got locked into the elevator because there's cameras in the elevator and seeing her reaction, like, oh yeah, shut it, like stop the elevator and get trapped in there.
I mean, he was gonna probably trap him anyway because you really think
Oh,
he's
it
gonna
was
let
gonna
her leave?
happen regardless.
He was not gonna let her leave because he wanted to keep an eye on her.
Like he's not stupid.
Yeah, because she leaves leaves the bomb in a taxi cab, or what if she goes to a bar, gets drunk, and then gives it to somebody?
Also like it was a good moment that now Chloe had finally came clean that she is meteor infected to Jim when she tells it to Jimmy. I like that moment. The making out scene I understand because they're about to die. They're about to get fucking blown to oblivion, so they feel like fuck it, might as well do it and go out like that.
I also liked whenever Lois just pulls out a gun and says and then all of a sudden Lex is Lex just knocks her the hell out.
Yeah, knocked her unconscious because he knows that someone's pulling the strings. He was not
Yeah, he was just like
stupid
this,
because he wouldn't because he knows that there's no way Lois would do something like that, would threaten Lex to get to the truth.
And then I love how Lex buys the Daily Planet at the end.
I know
I'm your new
that
boss.
took me by fucking surprise.
I'm
Now
your
he's
new
gonna make
boss.
sure that no one will be able to get that story out. Now he's the chief editor chief of the Daily Planet. He's the owner of the Daily Planet, which I don't know if that's even actually possible.
And I liked
do
Grant
that.
Gabriel. I loved Grant Gabriel, and I thought he was such a good. I honestly, I forget that. I can't believe that he was in this many episodes. I'm like, he's so good in these episodes.
He didn't feel like just a one-off guest star on the show. He had a few episodes, even though he was not a regular at the time. But I did like the moment with him and Lex when now he's telling him to back off and let him live his life. But his one line says, if you want to play God, you know about his greatest gift, free will. That was great. And he would tell him, like, dude, are you really this desperate to have a family and have someone who loves you and it's worth the risk of creating a carbon copy of your own dead brother?
And what Julian said, he's still just like with Lionel, he's like, I'm willing to love you still, but I'm just upset with you because of that, I think, and I loved that how he breaks up with Lois at the end. He's like, look,
For
I'm no
real
longer
this time, for real.
I like that he closed that relationship with Lois, and I wish that he was still in charge, but I understand the next episode kind of seals that fate where he never will return.
Oh yeah. And
And
Lois can never catch a break when it comes to being in a crappy relationship. Just when she was
Ameri-
about to get something special, it just
he
gets
was
torn apart
he
like
was
that.
so good. I really like Julian. I'm like, to me, it was like I honestly think, well, you know what? Maybe Julian can redeem the Luthers.
It could have
Well,
happened.
That
It
gets
could have.
flushed down the toilet in the
But
next.
that was never gonna last. Even the relationship between him and Lois, we both know that was never gonna last very long, especially with what you were saying, Jake, about redeeming the Luther family. It was never gonna happen.
You got to have that shit stain on their name.
Exactly. Branded by the sins of the father.
We do have one more episode to get to, so let's go to ratings for episode 9, Jacob, 1 to 10.
I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10.
All right,
You
Matt,
really liked it that much.
Yeah.
Matt,
I'm going
what
to give it an 8. I'm giving this episode an 8. I think that the Blue is still a better episode, but I still think it was a really good episode that I was excited for the next one. But I was still pissed off because we were in the mid-season and we had to go for the mid-season break for a month and a half to wait for the next one. I was like, you fucking bastards. This was me at the time when I watched this when it was aired on television on the CW.
I'm gonna go 9 as well. I really enjoyed this episode. Almost everything worked for me, and the cherry on top of the sundae is season 7, episode 10, called Persona.
some sort of Kryptonian artificial intelligence.
Clark, you have to stop it.
I am the brain interactive construct. Do not underestimate me.
Smallville, followed by Supernatural. All new episodes Thursday, January 31st on the CW.
While Clark is still frozen in the fortress, Bizarro grows closer to Lana, who returns the feelings on just as deep a level, even sharing some badly needed information with him, while he still attempts to carry out his intentions of destroying Clark. Lex's brother Julian reveals himself to Lionel in an effort to clear the air between all parties involved. Oh, and not to bury the lead, but Brainiac is back. That made me so happy.
James Marsden has returned to the role of Brainiac. They teased that in the promo at the time when it was on the CW, and I was like, oh god, I was so excited. And I looked up on Krypton site where they just revealed these episodes, and majority of the time it's spoilers, but I saw a bunch of still photos of Bizarro and Brainiac in the same scene, and I just couldn't wait to see the context of that episode.
I was so happy whenever like James Master, because I know I love him as Brainiac, and whenever I like, because they said this season felt like was a farewell season for the showrunners, and they really wanted to go big. They want James Masters to return. They wanted it to go like as Brainiac, and I really like that they did that. Like they brought him back, even though some people say, well, that was just plot convenience. That like, oh, they somehow had Brainiac's magic dust could form and make Brainiac again. Oh yeah, but I'm like, I like it. Look, the where it goes, I like where it goes, you know. And honestly, I'm not going to spoil it, but like where it goes, I like where it goes, and I really enjoy just like Brainiac and having that conversation with Bizarre, where he's like, "Oh, there's some problems, yeah, like I might, you know." He says like, "Yeah, if she ever sees me in the sunlight," and then Brainiac's like, "Get a straw hat and some sunblock." He says, like he's just being a dick. It says,
He was giving his little smart ass remarks to him. That was pretty funny. I thought that was hilarious. Yeah, and also he's been regenerating by killing every human form that he can, because he runs on energy to regenerate. And I thought it made sense for Brainiac to come back in the show. I didn't think it made no sense. I think it really worked, because if you paid attention in the season 6 of a Fallout, when Baron the Phantom disintegrated that device that Zod was going to use to wipe out the Earth, and according to Raya, she said that this was the Brainy interactive construct.
Yeah,
When she name drops Brainiac, so they were able to save that and let that open door for them to have Brainiac return to the show in some shape or form. And I thought how they did it really worked.
I honestly like, one thing I really like about this episode is Bizarre being open and perfect boyfriend to Lana. I like that he is.
Dude, he's been banging her for a month. A month.
Lana's, I'm like,
I love Brainiac's question.
You're
like,
telling me
are you
Bizarre?
concerned? Are you concerned how he's gonna react when he finds you in bed with his girlfriend? That was how I was thinking too. Like, how do you think he's gonna react to this shit? You've been banging her for a month.
Lana didn't go outside for a month. You're telling me that they just stayed in bed having sex for like a month?
He
like
managed to
Bizarre
avoid
and Lana?
sunlight. He managed to avoid to expose himself to sunlight
A
from
month.
Lana a month.
I'm not
4 weeks.
I'm not a sex expert or anything, but both parties involved had to have been tired at a certain point. That's all
I would love to see.
I want to hear you talk about sex.
I would love to see Clark ask Bizarro, like, anyway, how's your sex life?
You can.
I want to see Ryan do a sex podcast.
You can only
hello, my name is
rise to
Ryan
the
King.
occasion. You can only rise to the occasion so many times before like eventually somebody
Well,
somewhere.
he has that phantom penis, okay? It's the opposite of Clark's. They can go forever.
I mean, what? Yeah, he can go on forever. He can last long.
It's got that.
All right. How long?
I would love to ask this one question. Like, it bothered me that they don't explain how he escaped from the Martian's prison. How the hell did he do that? How did he break out that after all these months?
After Dean Cain was talking about how he was telling the stories about how he conquered the world and everything, Bizarro was getting annoyed. So Bizarro just said, "I'm going to kill you if you do not shut the fuck up." So Dean Cain kept talking. So I was like, "Oh, fuck this." And then he tried, and they're like, "I can escape or kill him. I'm going to escape." And then he just fled to Earth.
Well, so that's how it happened. After
all
this opportunity that he could have had that opportunity to escape like that.
Like, I mean, the Martian
the Martian really needs to check his fucking guards lately. Like, we already know security guards. Fuck them.
I mean, literally, there's probably 2 people in the prison. It's him and Bizarre.
Yeah, there's literally 2 people.
That means Dean Cain probably escaped too. He's probably like, "Hey man, look, okay,
Yeah,
look,
Vandal Savage escaped.
Vandal
And,
Savage." He's like, "Hey man,
it
look."
never gets mentioned ever again.
Which I mean, honestly, literally, I honestly think that Bazaar just like went there to go kill Clark, and he's like, he's not here.
Yeah, he was there. He was there to attention.
Nice.
Yeah, he was literally intentionally was supposed to hunt down Clark that trapped him as a prisoner.
He ain't told him I was coming to
Until
kill
he
him,
met
but
until he
he's
met
not
Lana,
here.
I'm like, whoo, okay. I'm gonna do something to get him back.
He's like, I like this hero thing, and like he goes and saves Chloe, which I like that he saved Chloe. He could have been like, well, these are fuck them, but instead he's like, I honestly think he really wanted to be a hero in this episode. He really believed he was super.
But then again, he was willing to run off to Paris with Lana and be with her forever.
I mean, so was
Something that
Spider-Man
it was
in
something
Amazing Spider-Man too.
that's something that Clark would never do.
Well, Spider-Man was going to do it in Amazing Spider-Man too.
But then it got set back.
Yeah,
That's
he had that little.
That's a whole
I'll follow you everywhere. I'll follow you everywhere.
That's a
And then
whole
that
nother,
broke.
that's a whole nother story for a whole nother time.
Yeah, but Spider-Man should have quit while he was ahead.
That's what she said.
But
Which I also like that Brainiac coming back. I do like Brainiac coming back, and I like that his like, and also in this episode, like how Brainiac, like his maker is on Earth as well, Dexter.
Yeah, Dexter.
And how and
I
it's played by is Mark McClue, who played Jimmy Olsen in the Chris Freak film.
Yeah, they brought him in, and they brought the actor who played Jimmy Olsen in the Donner Superman, which that was really good to see that little reunion, even though we don't see the same legacy actors in the same scene together, but it was great to see him play a different role. And if you watch the season 7 featurette, they do this round table of these previous variations of actors.
Jimmy's.
Yeah, that Jimmy on Jimmy's. They had Sam Huntington for Superman Returns. They had Aaron Ashmore, of course. Then they brought in the actor who guest starred in the show on Smallville, and I forgot the other guy's name.
The other guy was in the 1970s My Adventures of Superman, George Reeves.
That's the one. And I thought that was a great Jimmy on Jimmy round table in the special features on the Blu-ray disc.
What'd you think about Dexter being Brainiac's maker? What'd you think about that, Ryan?
I loved Daxter. Like his role in this episode is very brief, but man, I just loved I loved hearing about how he came to the Earth a century ago. He fell in love with a woman. It kind of reminded me of this angle in Star Wars: The Clone Wars. It's this deserter episode. Nobody's going to understand this reference but me. But one of the clones decided this war is not worth it. I'm just going to find a planet to just settle down and have a family and start a farm. So that's kind of what Daxter kind of reminded me of. And I loved everything.
I totally agree. I've seen that. I remember that episode. Yeah. It does have some resemblance.
I don't remember it. I've seen it, but I don't remember.
It's been for so long, but I've seen it a couple of times. And since you brought it up, Ryan, yeah, it makes sense. It's very reminiscent to the Clone Wars episode where he's a deserter. He gave up everything that he stood for and fell in love and had a life on the farm, which it was pretty much what Daxter did, because his goal was to study the Earth's sun and how it affects the minerals. And he had all the powers of the gods, and he could have saved the human race, but he fell in love with a woman and he gave it up.
And you know what was so great about that? Like, then of course he becomes a mechanic. He's like, you know what? I want to be a mechanic.
Yeah, he just becomes an ordinary mechanic guy.
I mean, who's better at fixing things than a mechanic? I mean, it makes total sense.
Exactly. He's an engineer.
I do like that the Brainiac finding Dexter and killing him at the end. I thought that was so well
That
done.
was good. That was so
where he's
good.
Like, can I help you? He goes, well, you should know. He says, you created me.
Dude,
that was
and also,
he's like,
and also
Brainiac,
and also that was so great that that Brainiac was able to manipulate both Clarks, Bizarro and the real Clark, by dressing himself as Lionel to manipulate Clark to find the Kryptonian. Because
how would he do that if he's at low point? He can't heal himself.
I know. I think he managed to shapeshift and be able to stay and just still looks healthy. I don't know how he was able to pull that off, because he looked very weak the moment he started transforming back into his original form in the elevator. But he almost had me fooled for a moment, like, oh, because if you paid attention, if you know that wasn't him, he's staring at himself in the mirror, which something Lionel doesn't always do. That's not Lionel, because that's when you know that he's trying to look the part as Lionel and try to fool Clark, which I thought he did it very well without trying to.
It doesn't make any sense how he was able to find Dexter though, because it wasn't like he has his driver's license that said "I am Dexter." Like they're like, you should be like, he
was asking questions. He asked questions. He,
Yeah, but he
remember,
wouldn't be able to find him, like, because
he
it could be
used his
easily.
SOS shield. Remember, he used his SOS shield where to locate him.
But it went. Oh, okay, never mind. Okay, all right,
Because
you're right.
and also, yeah, because they definitely brought that back for that Kryptonian shield that they found in the time capsule like several episodes ago, and they were saving it for this episode.
Oh, okay. You know,
Okay,
I also like. Oh,
I'm
Ryan, what
sorry.
were you gonna say?
No, no,
No,
no.
you.
Please go ahead.
I was gonna say I do like that when Brainiac is there and Dexter and he goes, "Can I help you?" He says, "You should created me," and then like he's just trying to take his bracelet off because he knows, like, oh God, he said because he knows what he's there for. He's like he's going to there, he's going to kill me, and he's going to like take information from. And he goes no, and so whenever he's like, no, 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 we don't want you to take your bracelet off,
Don't lose your
and then
bracelet.
he says, I'm not telling you nothing, and then he's like, oh, don't worry, and then he just goes,
You don't
and then
have
he
to
just goes like
talk.
this, and then he just like. And he's like,
He just
ah.
extracted. Yeah, he all he had to do is just extract his mind.
We
That's all he
saw
needed.
his
Like he's like, yeah, you don't have to talk. I was
when
like,
you
damn, dude. And also, yeah, he would fucking destroy that blue kryptonite and lose his chance to being human.
which yeah, and then all of a sudden I love how he was just like when he put it up there, you can see Brainiac's eyes turning alien, like he's uploading like I am 100% now. Like,
Now he's fully loaded.
which I also one thing I really liked also was I loved like how Lex like how like Julian goes up there and tells Lionel, I am Julian Luther. And and all of a sudden like and then like when then Lex finds out about that and Lex is like, I heard Grant Gabriel, and then Lionel just disdains, like just basically disowns Lex, where he's like, you are nothing. He said, you think you could play God with your family? He said, because you wanted your brother back. And then he's like, you wouldn't want to see Julian yourself. And then Lionel just berates Lex and just makes him feel small. And then to where Lex just like he's like, you are nothing to me. You're nothing. Like, just
Like you disgust me.
like, and then that's when Lex just has to act on that whenever
He's like,
Lex,
hey, I'm only doing the things that you didn't have the guts to do.
yeah. Oh, what do you think about that moment when Lionel just tears into Lex?
Oh man, it just literally that moment, the whole ending, and then Julian gets shot, and then just Julian gets shot. Clark and Lana awkwardly go to bed together. The whole ending, which is montaged, the soundtrack, the montage is soundtrack by Pioneer to the Falls by Interpol. Just a great song. And then just like I was talking to you, Collins, off air about it. You were saying like this is like the death of like OG
Julian.
Smallville, and like now we're like in something completely different.
Yeah, this kind of like because this going forward, like this kind of like Lana and Clark now are at odds. Lex and Lionel are at odds because Lionel basically told Lex, "You're nothing to me now." And Lex, and then like of course, Lana like and Clark are now like Lana's like, I don't love you. I loved the idea. I loved. And like Clark knows that now. He's like, you loved the Phantom more than me. Like you almost chose him over me, and so like
It almost looked like from that scene when she was about to destroy him with blue kryptonite, she looked like she was very conflicted and she was very hesitant to go through it. But she knew she had to do it because it was the right thing to do, and that's what Clark would have wanted. But there was a part of her that really wanted to be with Bizarro Clark because he's more open and more affectionate and more understanding. And she knew that if she went to the opposite of the choice, she would disappoint Clark and never look at her the same way again. Which that scene herself really put me on edge watching that scene.
yeah. In which I mean, really, I mean, this episode also, yeah, it's a lot of people like there's a lot of tragedy things happen like Dexter, Brainiac kills Dexter. Julian Luther gets murdered. I mean, that's the second time Lionel has to bury his son.
I was so fucking pissed.
Lionel has to bury his son
Julian
twice
as a baby and now as an
as an
adult.
adult. I mean, that's gonna
fucked
fuck up Lionel's head. Like my son, I had to bury.
He
my
lost
son
Julian twice. It like right in front of him. How fucked up is that? And now because Lex arranged the mugging to kill him, to gun him down. Like that's so fucked up.
What'd you think about Lex?
Because even fucking Julian disowned his own brother. He's like, go fuck
Julian
yourself.
Julian was willing to like when Julian said like, "There's nothing you could do," and then like when
like,
Julian,
hey, there's nothing to do. Like, hey, what are you gonna do about it? It's like he basically
like,
told him to go fuck. He literally just told him to go fuck himself.
What'd you think though? Whenever Lex did that, Ryan killed Julian.
Oh God, that scene was just it was tough to watch because I'll I wasn't too attached to Grant Gabriel, but when it was like revealed to be Julian Luther, I'm like, this could go somewhere. And then Lex is just like, yeah, the happy ending, it doesn't happen while I'm around. Just like the whole the Luthers send their regards or something to that effect. Just
It's like Lex is like, hey, I brought you into this world and I can take you out, literally. And
pretty
Yeah,
pretty
and he
him
much.
did.
standing outside in the rain
Yeah,
screaming.
just like Julian, it was like season 3 when
How did you feel when Lex was standing out in the rain?
Julian.
So and just like no, he didn't say Julian, he just
I
fucking
know.
just screams. How that the fact was like, yeah, he's literally almost literally too far gone at this point.
Yeah, the he's crossed the Rubicon and the bridge has been burnt behind him. He's like we are
He's
in.
99% there. He's
He's literally
99% there.
99%. 99%. Not
He's not
100% yet.
there all the way yet, but there's one episode where you're like, oh no, he's
Yeah,
100%.
once you get to this, I won't tell you which episode, but once you get into the beginning of the episode, he will become 100% Lex at that point.
But
I will
let's
say,
go. I'm sorry,
I will
go.
say one thing. I love the callback to episode season 3 Memoriam, where he's in the rain going, Julian, and Lex is just screaming in the rain. I love that callback to that, where he's like,
Yeah, it did.
and
It did feel like a callback to that scene.
and which it also felt like a nod to when I was like, it kind of reminded me of the scene in X-Men Apocalypse where Magneto after they kill his daughter, he goes and he kills those men and goes, is this what you want from me? I
Is
feel
this
like
what I
that's the
am?
scene where Lex, is this what I am? Is like I think that's Lex when he's already screaming. He's like, is this what I am? Is this what I'm
It
supposed
feels
to
like
be?
it feels like he's now trying to accept that his humanity has been
I'm a
shredded.
monster. I
Like
am
now
a
he's a
monster.
monster and his humanity has been shredded.
Like it's like like Lex is just trying.
He's trying to be loved, and
But it's
everyone
like,
despises him at this point after all the bridges he burnt.
I mean, you didn't have to kill Julian.
No, he didn't have
You did
to,
not have to
but
like drug Lana.
he was so caught up in his own pride and his own ego that even his own creation and fucking abandoned him.
But
This episode should be called "The Downfall of Lex."
pretty
Mhm.
much, yeah. But let's go to ratings, Jacob, 1 to 10.
I'm gonna give this a 10 out of 10.
Wow,
All right,
damn.
Matt, what about you?
I mean, I did say that Blue was the best one, but now after talking about this episode, I'm kind of at to say that this one's the best, the Persona episode. So I'm gonna give it to this thing, yeah, 10 out of 10. It was perfect. I
We
mean,
are
I already know that I've already said that Blue was the best, but then when we cover into the more I talk about it,
Yeah,
I'm starting to love it more and more. And like, fuck, I'm gonna say that the Persona is the best one. It's a 10 out of 10 for sure.
Yeah, we are in agreement. This is a 10 from me as well. I think this might be one of my favorite episodes of this show, period. I loved this thing, and when it was over, I was
yeah.
just like, I want to get to episode 11 right now, but I know that I can't jump ahead. But it just
What's next week? What 3 episodes are
Uh,
called?
I think
hang
the
on,
next week
hang. I'm getting there. Da, 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 da. It's Siren, Fracture, and Hero. But
and you know the product placement episode.
Oh, I know.
You
One of
know,
those episodes is a fucking
Jake.
product placement episode.
It's a fucking
I know
plot
which one.
device. Product
It's
placement.
just a product placement episode. Like you're just like, oh,
I can't wait.
God.
I can't wait till we fucking cover that shit next week.
but as far
If
as
we
this,
only had Stride Gum still, we could all choose Stride Gum and review it, but there's no such Stride Gum.
And sponsor it. Try to bring it back because after they discontinued it.
but I
I'll
pass it
receive
off to
Stride Gum one.
pass it off to all of you. What did you all think of these episodes? Let us know in the comments. Love to read what you have to say. It's a privilege to do this show with these guys every single week. Collins, you and I are doing the Phillips project. We've got due date coming up. That's going to be tomorrow. Where can
That's actually an underrated movie. That's so underrated. I mean, it's a ripoff from Planes, Trains, and Automobile, but I really enjoyed Due Date a lot more.
We literally said that too when we were doing that after we got done with the Hangover. I'm like, that's just Plane, Trains, and Automobiles, but with
it
all the
literally
raunchier.
is. It's a Hangover meets Planes, Trains, and Automobile.
But Jacob, your channel's linked below. What do you got coming up?
Just drop my Beetlejuice review. And by the time y'all see this, I love the movie. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to see Transformers 1 because I need to set up for Halloween and all my reviews for Halloween. I am gonna there's some like stuff for Halloween stuff for my annual Halloween movie, the 3D movie horror. I said 3D movie horror. I don't even know which one I call. I think it's called 3D horror cinema. But yeah, I literally have that every year. And yeah, I really enjoy making those videos, and I'm gonna have these guys on for some videos. I literally got some terrifying videos coming up, and some and everything. So yeah, Freddy got fingered. This video we got coming up. It's gonna be terrifying. And I'm joking. And
It
yeah, we got some
involves
stuff.
it involves a certain clown. That's what I can tell you.
It is very terrifying.
But subscribe to Jacob. He really needs the money.
Well,
Matt, why?
fuck you, Ryan. Fuck you.
Because he needs the money because he's too busy spending on fucking overpriced fucking games that are mediocre.
Jacob,
What was the last game I bought? I don't know. I said, oh yeah,
Outlaws,
oh yeah,
Star Wars Outlaws.
Jacob,
oh yeah. I
I
keep buying.
bought. Jacob, I
You
bought.
bought the fucking Ultimate Edition for $107.
Jacob,
What
I
was it you
bought the
said?
$120 edition of Sea of Thieves, Collins.
Oh, did you like it?
I didn't play it, but Matt, what about you? What do you got coming up?
Well, if you already watching this video by now, you know that Transformers 1 review is up on my channel right now, and you already know how I really felt about the movie. There's still a few of videos that I still need to finish editing, which is Blanked Twice, Abigail, and the Bike Riders. Those because I only recorded those few videos. I still haven't. It's still in the work in progress. And then if you want to follow my social media links, the link tree will be down in the description below. I had a fun time talking about Smalltalk with you guys. It's been a blast, and I can't wait for next week. And what else? What am I trying to think on the top of my head? Yeah, my goal is to reach 500 subscribers too. So go and hit that subscribe button on my channel.
Yeah, let's get him there. But as far as this channel goes, the Phillips project rolls on with due date. The 1999 project rolls on. Scary Mania 5 begins. There has never been a better time to subscribe to this channel. So subscribe to this channel. Click that bell for notifications and all of that. But for Matt Wyatt, for Jacob Collins, my name is Ryan Cam. For Truth for Justice for the American Way, always hold on to Smallville. We will see you next week.
Always, we will murder you.
Yeah, let's just leave it off at that. Why don't we?